So first question, how early can I start homeschooling?
So I think, you can kind of start right away. I think one of the good things about homeschooling is you don't necessarily have to have a sharp line between schooling, formal schooling, and just everyday learning. So if there's a day where the kid needs some more behavior training and not as much academic training, that works perfectly. Because it's not like you have to have a super strict time for academic learning that's completely inflexible. So that behavior training can start very early. Our kids, my wife mostly, and I some have started working with them. Probably formal activities maybe around 2 years old. Depending on how much time you have, you can go even sooner. But yeah, I don't think there's a limit to when you can start.
Related to that is a lot of it has to do with their aptitude. And there can be different things that you teach them, and depending on their aptitude, right? Josh, who's Joshua's oldest, is pretty interested in reading, even though he's only 3, and so to teach him or to start to teach him to read is a good idea. There can be other children that are interested in other things, and you start to teach them in the things that they're interested in. A lot of people can go, oh, we need to teach them how to read first, but reading actually, the child kind of picks when they learn to read. Children learn to read from the age of 2 to the age of 7. And it's interesting, if you look at the studies, even if they learn to read at the age of 7, they catch up right away. So when you think about it, instead thinking, how do you use this time that you have with them to be efficient? And it can be, best thing to do could be to teach them to do chores. And that's also learning, and that's also important things.
Yeah, I think it's pretty, for us at least, it was interesting when we first started teaching our children. It's kind of like when you first have your kid, you feel like there's this pressure. Everybody gives you these behavioral milestones, and you're looking at behavioral milestones and going, they should be rolling over at this point. They should be standing up at this point. They should be starting to make certain sounds. And I think with education, it can be like that as well, where you think they have to be right at this point. We had kids who learned to read that we didn't teach them to read. Like Dan was saying, an older brother or sister taught them. They just figured out, we're sitting there one day and they came over and started reading, and we're like, when did you learn how to read? And so it is, part of it is learning to, there's this temptation to say, I have to do what the schools did. And as you start to relax your mind in that sense, and instead say, I need to think of life as teaching them the things they need to know and using your life to do that, I think it becomes a lot more natural. And it is something that takes time, because in the beginning you're uncomfortable with it. In the beginning you feel more nervous about it. But it's really learning to let go of that nervousness and actually be more relaxed and kind of believe that the things that really matter are teaching them how to live in the world, teaching them how to know the things that are going to be important for them. And so I think, like I said, I would agree with everything that's been said. It's you can start very early. And you can start very early in a different way than you're thinking. It's not like you have a desk for your 2-year-old and make them sit in it for several hours. It's more that you've started teaching your 2-year-old things. And those are useful things for your 2-year-old to know.